Hello, and welcome to Zap the Gender Pay Gap, the podcast series where we expose the elephant in the room. The elephant's name, the gender pay gap. I am coming to you from Memphis, Tennessee, located on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River. Nestled in the southwest corner of the state, Memphis is home to the blues, barbecue, and so much more. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker.
Thank you so very much for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Look for me on Apple, Spotify, Google, and YouTube, or any other platform where you find your favorite podcast. And when you find me, please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Can hardly believe it. Christmas Day is just around the corner. Just yesterday, my husband Ricky and I were reflecting back on our days growing up, talking about how our family celebrated together at Christmas time. I remember how excited we were as children, wondering if we would get a few of our favorite things we'd put on our wish list. My mom loved Christmas. She'd put up decorations all over the house and outside too. The house where we grew up had a big cedar tree in the front yard. In a way, we had our very own live Christmas tree all year long. She loved decorating, and she decorated with lots and lots of Christmas lights. It seemed to just light up everything on our street. As we grew, the tree did too. By the time I was a teenager, we had a hard time getting lights all the way to the top of that tree. But my mom didn't mind. She just loved celebrating at Christmas time. Of course, there was always lots and lots of good food too. Do you remember the song Santa Claus is Coming to Town? Lots of artists sung it, but I think my favorite was sung by the Jackson 5. According to Tom Ames, it is one of the most famous Christmas songs of all time. Do you remember the lyrics? They go like this: You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's going to find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Talk about putting fear in your heart. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, my word. Santa Claus has all these superpowers? You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. I bet you can hear the melody in your ears right now, huh? As I was digging in to find out how the song came about, who wrote it, composed it, and when, I stumbled upon some very interesting facts. The song was written in 1934 by John Frederick Coots. He wrote the music, and Haven Gillespie, a prolific songwriter, he wrote the lyrics. In 1934, when Gillespie brought Coots the lyrics, he came up with the main melody in just 10 minutes. Coots then took the song to his publisher, Leo Feist. He liked it, but thought it was a kid song and really didn't expect much success. So, guess what? Coots offered the song to American entertainment giant Eddie Cantor. He used it on his radio show in November of 1934, and guess what? It became an instant hit. Boy, did they prove Leo wrong. The morning after the radio show, there were orders for, get this, 100,000 copies of sheet music, and by Christmas, sales had passed 400,000. Talk about going viral. I'd say that's an example of going viral. In 1947, Bing Crosby and the Andrews sisters scored a hit with a cover, and it has since been recorded and performed countless times. Some of the more famous covers include the Four Seasons, Frank Sinatra, the Jackson Five, Bruce Springsteen, Mariah Carey, James Taylor, and so many more. And get this, in 1970, Fred Astaire starred in an animated movie of the same name. Now, my question to you is, what if the writer and composer of the music for this song had stopped at the first note? When their publisher, Leo Feist, said no, what if they had stopped? What if Coots and Gillespie had said to themselves, well, Leo said no, so we should probably go back to the drawing board. Maybe we should just wrap this up. Surely Leo knows a hit song when he hears it. What if they had not offered the song to Eddie Cantor? You know what? We would not be here talking today about this song. Almost 90 years since it was first recorded. No, their persistence paid off. When Leo said no, their hopes weren't dashed and they didn't give up. They didn't put their eggs in one basket. No, they just knocked on another door. This brings to mind an acronym I heard a while ago that continues to resonate with me, which I will share with you today. And it says SW, 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 SW. Want to know what it stands for? You know my reply. So very glad you asked. This is what it stands for. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone else is waiting. In other words, Boots and Gillespie knew they had composed a hit song, even if Leo, their publisher, didn't think so. Now, this can apply in a lot of situations, especially when it comes to even thinking about asking for a raise. Aha, I bet you were asking yourself, what in the world does any of this have to do with the gender pay gap? And you know my reply, right? I'm so very glad you asked. But for now, that can wait. For now, I hope you will take this time to share quality time with family and friends. Now, although my parents have passed and my parents on my husband's side have too, we still enjoy fond memories of our time together. At this time of year, we often look back and reflect on our days as children. Then, most of the emphasis was focused on what we would get. I guess as children, that's kind of how it goes, huh? That was then. This is now. Now we get to make memories of our own, and I hope you will too. Instead of the Christmas tree as the center of our focus at this time of year, Jesus has become the reason for all seasons for our family. More of our emphasis as a family is placed on what we can give, not only at Christmas time, but really all year long. Now, we don't put up lots of Christmas decorations, nor do we expect Santa Claus to come to town. Nor, as the famous Christmas poem says, do we have visions of sugar plums dancing in our heads. No, we don't look for Santa to spring to his sleigh, to his team give a whistle, and fly away like the down of a thistle. But I hope you will receive these heartfelt words as I bring this episode to a close. Happy Christmas to all, and to all a very good night. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you here next Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time for the next episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. Until then, please be well.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. Please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow me wherever you get your favorite podcast. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.